Hello.
Such a quick transition.
Hello, welcome to The Mouth of Truth, a monthly live stream from behind the scenes of Ren, the Girl with the Mark. I'm Neil Eisman.
I'm Kate Madison.
And we are here, you don't seem sure.
I was considering not being on camera today. That's why I was like, oh yeah, I am on camera.
You're very much on camera. As usual, we're going to be updating you on the progress of the production. We're going to be speaking to a guest from the cast and crew. Tonight it is action choreographer Ronan Trainer, who'll be joining us in a few minutes. We'll tell you all about what's been going on lately in the world of Ren. We, of course, shot season 2 back in May. That was when we did what they call principal photography, so most of the filming happened then, but there's always little bits that sort of linger, and we actually did our very last pickup shot the day before yesterday. Here in the back garden. It's kind of weird because the very first thing you see in Ren season 1, Hunter's hands stealing the Retha, that was the same sort of thing. It was someone else's hands shot at night in the back garden here, quite late in post-production. And we've done a similar thing here for one little shot in episode 4 that we just needed to change slightly what was happening. So we did a close-up of hands. Ash came along, Jeremy came along, and we shot it in about an hour the other night. So finally, I think we can say season 2 is now officially completely in the can.
You're braver than me now. I never say that.
Picture-wise. Sound-wise, there's still a fair bit to do. We've actually got an ADR session on Monday with Alex and Oriana, Hunter and Ren. And ADR stands for additional dialogue recording or automated dialogue replacement, depending on
who you are and who you ask.
And who you talk to. And what it means is if the sound isn't usable for some reason, for example, just imagine that someone starts playing like 90s soft rock hits in the field next to where you're shooting one night.
Concert in the background.
Then you would have to go and dub that dialogue, or if you've got a wind machine going or something like that, or sometimes
it's just the whole of episode 1 pretty much.
Or sometimes you need to write a new line because you realise that you haven't explained something well enough in the script. So you write a new line for a shot where maybe you can't see someone's mouth properly because they're very small in frame or their back's to camera or something. So you add another little line in to explain stuff. So that's what ADR is. That's what we'll be doing next Monday. And that is all part of the process of the sound editing, sound design, sound mixing, which Dale, who also did a lot of our production sound, has been working very, very hard on. Dale and Jesse. I haven't heard any of it yet, but I'm very excited to see what comes up. Hi, Mike.
I was just about to go, just going to check that we're actually live because I didn't see any chat, but we are.
Mike Rhodes is in the chat. I've only done ADR once and it's much harder than I expected. Yeah, it is very difficult because you've got to try and replicate the same emotions and performance that you had on a day, which might have been in quite a loud, busy, energetic environment, and you're now in this very quiet, still recording studio. And you've got to do it in sync with your mouth movements from before, so you're watching the picture and it loops over and over. That's why it's sometimes called looping your dialogue. It is very difficult, and it's a skill. That's why it's one of the reasons that actors, it's a skill, it's a talent. That's one of the things they have to do.
Sorry, reframing the camera.
Hi Anna, thanks for joining us. So that's what's going on at the moment. We're also working very hard on visual effects. Counted them up the other day. There are 102 visual effects shots in the series.
Actually, doesn't sound as many as I thought.
Well, we've done about a third of them, so we're getting through them. Just looking at another big chunk today and how we're going to do those. But
is that like every frame, or like in a sense, or is that you going, this sequence is a visual effect?
It's every shot.
Okay. So I'm still kind of surprised. I thought it would be more than that.
I think we had about 80 in season 1, so it's a bit more, but not not hugely more. Given about 40 or 50 of those are the horse chase, of course. But yeah, so visual effects is happening, and then we picture lock. So that's the other thing that happened recently. Picture lock means you're sort of done with the editing in terms of you've chosen what all the takes are, what shots you're using, you've trimmed them all to the right length, you've got them in the right order. And that's not going to change anymore. And that means that you can really then focus on editing the sound, cleaning up the sound, dubbing the sound, as we've said, adding all the Foley, which is the footsteps, the clothing rustles, all the special sound effects, like when Ren uses her powers and things. Ooh, spoiler, she uses her powers in this season. And then, of course, you can write the music. Rob Westwood, the amazing composer who did season 1 for us, is back on season 2. He has written the very first piece of new music for season 2. I haven't heard it yet, but that is very exciting. That composition of the music is underway. So yeah, we've picture locked episodes 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 should follow this weekend. Yep. So we're powering on. And hello, we've got another Anna in the chat.
Anna's just complimenting me on my t-shirt.
Okay, yeah, another Vox Machina.
Vox Machina. Okay, he's not a Critical Role fan.
I never know how to pronounce Deus Ex Machina.
Vox Machina. I don't know. They call it Vox Machina. Who knows?
And hi, Gwendolyn. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be a masterpiece. We'll try. Cool. Sending some critter love. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on The Mouth of Truth. And who is joining us now? It is going to be action choreographer Ronin Trainer. Right. Say hello to Ronin.
Okay, let's go. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Ronin?
Good, thank you. Good.
Cool. I meant to ask you this beforehand, actually. Do we call you action choreographer, stunt coordinator? What's the right term?
There's a million different ones. We'll just pick one for each project. But action coordinator kind of covers a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So cool. We'll cover that.
Yeah, action coordinator. And of course, you worked on season 1 as well.
Yes.
How did you get involved?
So I met you on Born at Hope. So it's randomly in Orc.
It must have been through the other fight stuff, right? We must have.
Because we had quite a lot of mutual friends on Born at Hope.
Yeah.
And then I did a couple of different fights on there as a performer. I think I was both sides of the fight. Probably fighting myself at one point. But yeah, so it's cool. And then when I heard you were doing Ren, I really enjoyed working with you and the rest of the team. So I kind of went and begged, could I have a play with some swords?
And I was like,
You said yes, as long as you can bring the swords.
Yeah, I have a couple. Have you got any more? Absolutely. It was awesome.
But yeah, it's quite nice. There's a lot of people on Ren from Born at Hope, and like other projects I've worked on. It's a small world, but like.
Because we'd done the first Musketeer together before.
That was the other thing. Yeah, there was a lot of.
Yeah, and you got Richard Roberts is on both of those.
Yeah.
Daniel Tyler Smith was on both of those. So yeah, it's quite a crossover. And Dieter, who played Liana, was also on my first Musketeer. So it's a very small world.
Independent filmmaking, or just filmmaking in general, really, but the independent scene especially, I think. So lots of people know each other or of each other at least. I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you're working on big things, like not that many people, I suppose, do big actiony things. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Because it's tough.
It is tough. Yeah, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
If you have any questions for Ronin, by the way, please do put them in the chat and we will we'll try to ask those. In the meantime, what was your favourite fight on season 1, Ronin?
It's actually the 3rd episode fight with Hunter in the market, which might not sound like the most exciting one in terms of the epic scale, but I quite enjoyed that because, one, we didn't have any major problems like rain, and the ground was nice and flat. But it was a really good one to kind of get the character out of Hunter, the swashbuckly feel where we see he's capable and cocky, and then he gets his comeuppance for being a bit cheeky. So it had quite a nice Pirates of the Caribbean kind of vibe for me. I think doing that, and all the performers seem to have a lot of fun on that one. And then that
Was
kind
that
of
the
set
broom
up
one?
Yes, I think it's the broom. It's where
yeah.
he kind of takes a sword off somebody. He's really cocky, walks around the corner, drops into commander. That kind of one.
Yeah. I really
it's
love
a nice kind of contrast, because later on when we go back to the same area in episode 5 where it's a bit more serious, we've already kind of established the world that he's fighting in, and on that one he's alone and fails, and then when we go to season 5 he starts working as a team, and then they're a bit more successful. So it's kind of, I felt like it's a good fight pivotal in terms of the arc of the series. But yeah, it's good, and Graham was great, like fighting up.
And that was one of the first things that we shot. I should say you shot, because I wasn't around those first few days.
Those first, I mean, so it was shot over a number of days, wasn't it, Ronan?
Pre hurricane.
yeah. We I mean, because I think it was sort of, we broke it up a few times. I can't remember. I remember, the very first thing we were going to shoot was going to be that opening bit with the broom, and but we gave ourselves extra time to practice it. And I don't know, is it interesting that the broom wasn't meant to break, right?
The broom was the hardest bit of the entire series, like blowing people up and running through the forest with dogs or whatever. All that was easy compared to a broom. Yeah.
So the broom was just going to be a broom, and on the first, I don't think even take or rehearsal, it snapped in half, and we were like, we should have bought more than one of these, and we didn't. And so we were like, quick, rework the fight to have him deliberately break the broom. So we had to hold it together until he looks like he snaps it. And then work that in.
Saved by gaffer tape.
I know. Working around weirdness. But yeah, it was sort of shot. I don't think we ended up doing that on the very first day, because I think we switched to jumping the barrel and under the cheese thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was a completely different setup. We didn't have all the cast there because the commander and Hunter were both there on different days until they finally met.
So we shot it whenever we could. I mean, a lot of that was season 1. It's like we have this person shoot their version of this whole scene, and then 5 days later someone else.
We were lucky in terms of weather and lighting and everything, because you can't really tell in the edit, I don't think, that it's so different days.
I don't think so. Nobody's pointed it out.
I noticed the light changing a lot more than I would. That's my job.
Well, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's definitely things, but yeah, I think I even forget how, because we used various bits of the set as well, so he's not really in the same places and stuff, and it's all illusion.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice, good fun in terms of old school traditional studio where you go around the back of anything and it's just a bit of wood, similar to a theatre set. But that was quite fun, and just having to work out the path of everything, and then obviously get all the extras that came in and helped out on a day to be in the village and navigate them so that they're in a safe place but still in the scene and all that.
Yeah, talking of flimsy stuff, didn't we have to have about 5 people standing behind one of the things when he gets slammed up against the wall? I think we had to have loads of people behind it to stop it wobbling. Yeah,
well, I think that was Ash Finn's first job.
Really?
On their first day on
Stand behind this wall.
Stand behind this wall and stop it wobbling. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. And they stayed and came back.
Yeah. Would you believe it? Cool. So we're getting some questions coming in on the chat, but first let's ask this question from Archosaur, who is one of our marked ones, our Patreon members, and they say, looking back to season 1, if you could redo one scene, which one would it be, Ronan?
I'm going to pick a fight scene just for political sake, so that I'm safe on Kate's side. I'd probably do the forest fight. I'm not sure whether people are aware of some of the challenges we faced on that, but probably 10 minutes before filming, Dita, who plays Liana, dislocated her shoulder. So the whole Liana part of that fight is with Dita just having put her shoulder back in. So she did an amazing job on that, but that obviously slowed things down and made that a little bit harder for us. Plus, the location was great, but we hadn't really had everybody there to do a rehearsal the day before and a camera rehearsal, and the hill was quite steep. And and the Knauf helmets don't stay on. So we spent a lot of time.
Good job we didn't have any of these problems again on season 2, isn't it?
Yeah, we really learned from our mistakes. I feel
Steep locations and stupid helmets. Yeah.
Well, we solved the helmet a little bit for season 2, but yeah, like the Knauf helmets, because the costumes are amazing. And they look great, but the helmets don't stay on. So every time we shouted action, one person's helmet would fall over their face, and it's quite a steep hill with loads of trip hazards. So
yeah,
just spent a lot of time trying not to get anyone killed. And then by the time people get to the bottom, they're kind of running a bit too fast than they can with their costume safely. So that was kind of tricky. And I think also it recently rained, so it was a bit wet. So I'd like to go back on a sunnier day. And do that again. But I mean, overall, it kind of worked out all right. But yeah, no prior injuries, no rain, and better helmets would have made that a little bit more fun.
yeah.
Also, just going back to your thing earlier, okay, is we brought some swords, but basically everyone checked in with what they could. So I brought some swords for that, but we were still using full heavy steel swords. I think we only had one prop sword made for season 1, really.
Yeah.
So everything was also a bit hairy in terms of people are wielding really heavy steel around, so there was very little margin for error and going for it. So again, if we had a bit more budget and some more prop swords, it'd be cool to do that with a bit more freedom of that. But yeah, that would probably be my one I would redo.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you that question as well, Kate.
If I could read, oh gosh, I wasn't expecting questions.
What would it be?
So, part of me would probably say the forest fight as well, but maybe also, maybe Khan at the end. Basically, because we didn't have very much luxury to do lots of rehearsals like we would have loved to. So obviously we were working things through on the day, and there was a few times when, to just sort of try and get the thing done, we lost some of the story of the fights in a sense. So Khan is meant to be really overwhelmed at the end and then rescued by Ren. But he doesn't really get overwhelmed. I don't think we had enough fighters to even do that, for example.
We had I think that was probably Ross's first day of production.
Exactly.
Hi, nice to meet you. Here's a sword. We've got 2 minutes to teach you how to use it, and now there's Khan going.
Yeah, it's we got Ross, and then Tom, throw yourself around so that you look like you've been shot. That was the thing. And I think. I don't know, I'm so used to the fights now as well as they are. But I think I remember, the forest, because it was they were meant to be in this shallow dell. That was why we had this the hill. It wasn't just to be annoying. It was meant to be they're kind of, these soldiers are coming over the hill at them. It was sort of to add that sort of drama. But the location didn't quite match the vision and things like that, and then so it was a bit of a hill, but so much so that it just became problematic, but you don't really notice it as a viewer. So things like that. But
we got the numbers. I think we got the feeling of being overwhelmed. I think in the forest.
In the forest, absolutely. We were very lucky. We had so many volunteers. It was amazing, and and those, as we've said many times, those costumes are not fun to wear. I've literally put one on. Well, I haven't even put one on. I've put the chest plate over my head and went nope and took it off again, pretty much.
Yeah, I think the other thing, I mean, everyone kind of did a good job, but because they're quite solid down the side, you can't actually move your arm across your body to do it properly.
Move.
So again, it's one of those, you make do with what's done. In an ideal world, everything would be so bespoke and made.
Yeah.
But again, it's that kind of balance between what you can get hold of and they look great. So
yeah.
Well, we did actually spend on the village fight with Khan. I'm pretty sure I came to see you, Kate, and I think we spent at least an hour talking about one shot, whether it was better for acting or better for fight. Then there's 2 seconds of take that we had to discuss for about an hour. I can't remember what our decision was in the end, but obviously we picked one.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing, because you've got so many things to worry about. It's does Does it work for the story? Does it work for the hits looking realistic? Is the acting kind of on it because they've got so many things to think about, not just acting, but like, am I about to get hit in the head? I mean, Chris, had a chunk taken out of his finger by misplacing swords and things like that. So it's a tough thing to deal with, like fights, to have all of these elements and keep it safe. Any kind of action stuff. And I remember the same with the horses. Like, I look now and go, I kind of wish they were going faster. But at the time I was like, I don't want them to slip. I'm worried about them I want everyone's safety. So like, and I kind of glad though that I have that mind. I'd rather go, everyone is safe and than, oh, look how dangerous this is and people were hurt. But look, like, I just, it's not, no.
I think that's the challenge as well, because we're obviously people, had a lot of volunteers come and donating their time and things, but locations and stuff cost money, so everything's always quite a lot under time pressure. So we've just got to, like I say, I thought we did quite a good job of being realistic. I mean, I think we pushed as far as we could for most things.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like, can we throw in something else? Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy, really, what we managed to do with the time and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hi, Helen. Helen's joined us in the chat.
Hey.
And Luther's asking, is Ren herself the only person played by a new character? No.
Guess you weren't here last month.
Yeah, Hunter is also played by a new actor, Alexander Hackett. You must have missed last month's Mouth of Truth, because he was our special guest. And you can go back on YouTube on our channel, and you'll be able to see the September live stream where we interviewed Alex. And Gwendolyn has asked, how long does a fight scene typically take to shoot?
However long you will give me is the question. Honestly, it's so varied. I mean, ideally, I don't know. I mean, it is so varied, because if you've got an hour, you'll shoot as much as you can in that hour, which gives you more coverage, which makes it better for the edit. So when we've put the fights together for Ren, we had obviously a script as our guide. Then we put some choreography together, kind of get that roughly signed off. And then when you get to set, you kind of have already got a rough idea of maybe you want 2 hours to shoot it, maybe 3 for something. And then when you get there, something else goes wrong and you've got an hour. So then you kind of go, right, well, we either have to do less or fight, or we have to do less coverage. So it's always a kind of movable feast. So yeah, as long as you give us, really. And also just depends on like other things, like if the actor nails it on the first take, like great, let's just move on. If they miss something a couple of times, then we might have to go again and again. So it also depends how much rehearsal we get. So for season 1, we didn't really get any camera rehearsal prior to arriving on set. Season 2, we didn't really get camera rehearsal, but we did get the director's eyes on the fight beforehand a little bit, so we had a kind of a bit more time to go, remember what we discussed, we want this shot, or we might want this shot, or this is a challenge. So we still were pushed for time, but kind of we could be a bit more efficient, I think.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, you can shoot kind of 5 to 10 minutes worth of dialogue scenes in a day if you're if you're all in one location and you're not doing too many different angles. But for a fight scene, you might spend all day doing 1 minute or less, just because you need lots of different camera angles to get the pace.
Yeah, or if you watch season 2, 1 day to shoot 4 minutes of fight.
Yeah, you could do it that way, Neil. But the reality of us is like, right, you've got today, go. In fact, it's 3 a.m. Do it now.
Yeah.
I mean, not on Ren, but on other productions with you, through no fault of anyone's other than venue clashes. But we had 4 hours to shoot a fight before, and we got given 20 minutes. So you just change your shots and go okay, we can't do all the things we want to. What can we change? Can the actors reduce it down and that? But that's part of the job. Let's make sure we can get the core elements of the story, make sure everyone's safe, and just get something in the can. So. I don't think I've ever had too much time when I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that would be a nice luxury to have.
Luther again has asked, will there ever be an epic fight scene with Hunter and an equally skilled bad guy? Something like you see in the Born to the Saber final fight scene. I don't know.
Well, there is some Hunter fights in this. Depends on epic, if we mean like length of fight or character stuff.
That's a few seasons down the road. We got to build to something.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely introducing some new characters in this, but I don't know where they're going to go story-wise. That's kind of not my department. But yeah, I mean, the more Neil wants and Kate wants to stick in there, the more we can do. Just need that kind of time. I mean, we've got more kind of understanding of the characters now and what they can do. I think we've been very fortunate with both our actors who played Hunter. Both are like very physical and very up for it. So I think if we're moving forward and Alex is on board, we can definitely do some more funky stuff. Definitely.
Well, that leads us quite nicely into a question I wanted to ask, which was about the auditions for season 2 when we were casting the new Ren and Hunter. Do you want to talk a bit about the physical fight training aspect of
that? Yeah. So again, it's always a challenge, and it depends from production to production how much emphasis you want to put on fight. But we kind of wanted to get a feeling of what was realistic to achieve, because in the script there's a reasonable amount of fight, and the directors had specific visions of what they kind of wanted to achieve. So when we kind of got to the callback stage, I think for a lot of the roles, we did a general fight kind of audition, which was teach some basic knife work, maybe teach a bit some unarmed, and get all the actors to work with each other. So it was really good for us to see their physicality, to break the ice a little bit so they could interact. And then obviously they're doing dialogues and duologues together, but just getting them to work together physically was a good way to see if there's chemistry between different actors and different combinations, and also, you know, challenges and stuff. And then usually depends, it's obviously down to people who are casting on productions, how much emphasis you want to put on their fight skills. So, you know, having a Hunter and a Ren that can do some decent fighty stuff makes life easier if it's a heavy action script, and it's reasonably heavy action script. And if someone's got no skills, then we think about, can we reduce the action? Can we double them? Obviously on project which is low budget, doubling becomes tricky because it's trying to get someone who could double them and be available when they're needed to do the doubling. But yeah, we had some pretty good people audition, like variety of levels of fight skills. But again, everyone seems up for doing stuff and enthusiastic, and that's kind of half the battle. And just seeing if you can work with them. People bring their own skills to the table, have their own ideas, and it's just seeing, you know, can we make that work? So
yeah. Have we ever talked about the fact that so I like doing auditions in a bit of a workshopy way. So after we'd sort of seen a bunch of Wrens and Hunters, we got a group of them in. Was it 8?
Yeah.
Something like 8.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, you know, for actually it was about 3 Hunters, I think, and 5 Wrens, but essentially a sort of relatively balanced group, so that we could play each one against each other and see how those pairings work, both for the dialogue and the fights, as Ronan said. But I suppose just a funny bit was when we were like, okay, so we've done all this choreography, now just all go to the back and you're fighting invisible dragons. Go.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So in typical like Marvel movie, you're on a green screen fighting tennis balls. We just wanted to see them without worrying about choreography. We wanted to see how they're whether they could look afraid and angry or determined, and all those sort of things that you maybe want from a fight. We just sort of would like just free for all, and just saw what they did and gave them some improv thing of not actually like hitting anything. They were literally like waving at the sky. But
that comes up a few times in auditions. That kind of, I mean, I have a few random stuff that we'll chuck in auditions, but even going up, like you say, if you're going up for a Marvel movie or something, and Disney, you're fighting imaginary dragons, we're going to want to see you like imaginary dragons.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting just to see people's choices. You could suddenly, when actors were free from having to learn lines and learn choreography, but had an objective, you could see who embodied certain physicalities, and you like that physicality is like already feels quite hunterish or feels quite Renish. This one is like different, not what we expected, but maybe we like it, maybe we don't, kind of thing. So it was interesting, and also then how they interacted to each other within that space.
Yes, because some of them had sort of jumped around and interacted and were like behind me sort of thing. And it was it's kind of cool and fun.
Alex has asked, any specific dream ideas for a Ren fight? Maces, jousting?
Don't know. I mean, like we trying to think what's worth taking. We've got quite a nice somewhere like with maybe an indoor location that we can control the environment would be nice. Just from a practical point of view, it'd be cool to have that rehearsal and stuff, and then do maybe some stuff in corridors. Maybe different heights, so we can just basically explore in the world around you. And then we can, do a little bit more hard hits into walls and stuff. But I mean, it just depends story-wise. I'm up for anything really. I quite like
jousting then.
Jousting. Ren against Hunter. Who will win? That would be a twist. There's a couple of questions here if you want them. I know we got a bunch here.
Mike says, what scene would you have liked to have got either in season 1 or 2 that you didn't get?
It's a tough one. I don't.
To Kate or to me?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just a general question for, I guess, any of us. Is there anything you were like, I wish we had a chance to do a big thing at this moment? Is there anything you thought, Ronan? I mean, you probably were like, I've got enough to do. But
no, I think actually the opening kind of with the rain in the forest and the dogs was very fortunate. It's like such heavy rain. It kind of worked really nicely. Not at the time, obviously.
No, it was horrible at the time.
But that would have been cool to have maybe to being able to extend that little sequence and give us some more additional moments where we can go from location to location in the forest and then get more character development, because I think it was quite a nice scene to set up the relationship between the two. But they're quite short episodes, so then we're kind of forced to move on the story to a little bit.
I think that kind of comes under the same blanket for me as well, of like how where I think the low budget I don't know if it shows itself, but where it feels more restrictive to us, which is not being able, we can set up that shot big, it was a lot to set that up, but and the rain was a fortunate, in a sense, visual thing, but we had that kind of shot in a way, and that was it. We couldn't, and we tried doing fake running shots and stuff. It didn't work. So being able, as you say, being able to make it more of a chase and have it be more dramatic and jumping over logs and skidding into things and trying to get away and all this stuff, it could have, we could definitely have made more of that if we had the luxury. But you're talking about doing, that's a week just on that night shoot alone.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge. If you for example, I think it's episode 5 fight with Khan, season 1, where we have a nice shot of the crowd parting and we get to see Khan with the cool shots like that, which can kind of make or break stories sometimes in fights. That takes time and planning, and so I think just having more of those ability to kind of go, we've got the core bit, can we go off and do some cool stuff, and sometimes we can plan that cool stuff, and other times the rain happens and there's an opportunity but we can never go back. Or we can't get a big studio where we get fake rain and just make it happen.
Because that's the thing, even if we had the luxury of having more time on that, it wouldn't have rained the next day. What would we have done then? Being having more time for stuff and the luxury of being able to then sort of move around and just have that. But that's, time is money.
I don't know the finances on season 1, but I can make a guesstimate that you made the equivalent of a Doctor Who episode on 0.01% of the budget.
I don't even remember. Yeah, I think when we've looked at budgets, it's been ridiculously, you're talking a catering budget probably for anything else. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, and any other scenes, we know we've written season 2 a number of times, for example, and even season 1, I think probably I don't remember enough to know what sort of got cut to try and sort of do what we wanted to do. There was we managed to shoot little bits and pieces of like a flashback, and we shot some other deleted scenes that you can find. But like season 2 was rewritten to make it easier to do. But
then you put the horses back in.
But well, yeah. But you have like, oh, we have this grand city we want to go to, and this scene, and these extra characters and stuff, and then you have to kind of go, okay, what's doable, what's not doable, like how can we keep it be really cool as we can, but so you have to sacrifice certain things, and sometimes that's for the best. But yeah, there's it's like anything, we could absolutely throw in more stuff, but again, we
could have done the story of the hat.
Yeah, exactly. Torbra's hat.
Origin story.
The spin-off. That's yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want that one because this. I don't know.
No, Luther's saying, did Ren ever shoot anyone with a bow? My memory says no. Well,
I trust your memory, but it's not. You're wrong.
She did. She shoots. We were talking about it earlier, actually, when Khan's getting surrounded by the soldiers in season 1, episode 5.
So
she fires.
She does. So this is an interesting one because I brought this up a number of times when we were doing season 2. That I, to a certain degree, regretted, even though I love the shot, like the hero shot we get of Ren when she lowers the bow is like the trailer shot. It's a brilliant, moment. It's one of our rare camera move shots. I think that helps. But yes, she actually shoots 2 soldiers to help Khan. But because of the nature of the way it's shot, you don't sort of see her loose the bow in a sense, so you can probably forget that that's actually her doing it. But when I was in season 2, I was like, I kind of regret that we did that, because it feels like we've given her nowhere to go on this journey of growing into someone who actually is willing to take life, or feels they have to. Like she had to in that moment. She's trying to save him. Like I said, he's meant to be completely overwhelmed, and she's saving his life. But there was a slight regret that because we did it in season 1, how do we give her a journey? And so I know we deliberately were trying to do less, at least in episode 1, with her regarding fights, so that she at least had a journey through season 2 a bit more, and into season 3.
And actually, whether or not she's comfortable with killing people is sort of a key part of her arc in season 2.
Yes. So it's a sort of, yes, she does, but you could ignore that. So that
they were just flesh wounds.
Yeah. She's just distracting them more than anything. They've got armor on, no way. But yeah. Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, Anna's saying, are you going to get more deep into the lore of Ren's world in the 2nd season? I think we go out into the world, we visit some different places, find out a bit more what it's like outside of Ren's village. She learns as we do. Yeah. I think season 3 is going to be the big lore dump story-wise. There's a lot of backstory and stuff we're going to get into there, but we definitely start to open up the world in season 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We want to drip feed these things a little bit to you so that you can get intrigued. I keep learning about new stuff. I literally learned something today and went, oh, that's new.
It's hard as well in the format, because it's not like in Lord of the Rings where we can spend 40 minutes in Hobbiton kind of thing, because we've got to do an entire series in a very short amount of time. So I think we've moved quite a few locations and introduced some new places in season 2 that kind of, they're not necessarily iconic. Some of them are iconic and some of them are just locations that move the story forward. But I think like people start getting a good idea of not necessarily the geography, but some key kind of stuff, by the time you get to season 3, you can have your little map where you kind of start understanding a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Because season 1 was all in Ren's village, and so we're literally leaving the village, and so by that nature, we're at least exploring the world a bit more, and then dropping little pieces of information as well. So kind of cool. I don't know where you were around.
Yeah, let's get back to fights. So how did you plan and rehearse the fights for season 2, Ronan?
So we had different directors for each episode. So had a kind of chat with them and their ideas, and obviously what was based on the script and any rewrites we were doing. I run a fight studio with another coordinator, so luckily we had some spare slots of availability in the studio, so we could book that out and then get some people in to help create and rehearse the fights. Kind of tricky again because we're working on people's goodwill and availability. So there's a fight that Hunter has in season 2 where I think probably 8 people play Hunter while we're working out the choreography, because we've got one person on in the morning, and then we're trying to do something else, and they have to go, and somebody else turns up, and then they have to learn the bit we've just done, and then maybe change something. So there's quite a lot of hands, in the credits. There's probably quite a lot of stunt performers. I think we've got 20 plus people on stunts, but people are just coming in and helping little bits. So, but anyway, as we kind of mix that, we put together rough choreography, do a general shoot, so we just know what the moves are, and then with the directors kind of come in and then discuss maybe where we want to shoot it from, what are the angles. We had rough ideas for location, so we knew the bridge for episode 4, but didn't really get to do a recce and couldn't kind of got there rehearsed there. So we kind of just made a flat space in the studio, measured out the width of the bridge, and kind of went, it's wide, let's try and work it out.
And then built it out of cardboard boxes.
Yeah, we just couldn't replicate the 90-degree sheer drop angle of the bridge, which we have to deal with when we get there. But yeah, so we kind of just did that really, and looked at some logistics, because in the script there's big weapons and a small bridge, so that was quite challenging in terms of trying to get all the stuff that was in there without kind of changing the script significantly and what the character weapons were going to be. And similar for the market fight, but again, I got to see the market before we shot there, but we didn't get to rehearse there or do any camera work until shooting day, really. So again, we blocked out the choreography for the characters. There's a couple of different fights that happen, but they happen in the same vicinity. So then we kind of worked them separately, and then on the day, working out how we get the camera to have one in the background and cross between the two when needed. And then I don't think we had it in season 1. We did for Liana, but not for any of the other. Oh, we did a tiny bit maybe for Hunter, but we had...
Oh, your mic's gone.
Yeah, poor Ronan's got an intermittent microphone.
I thought we were going to get away with it, but
That's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So we're lucky to get Oriana, Alex, Connie, and Helen down. To actually get to practice some of the fights that we'd rehearsed. The bridge fight is quite a challenging fight because it's done as a big one-er. Helen's got to do quite a lot of fighting in that, as do other people, but she's got quite a big task in that. So again, I don't know, we had 4 hours maybe of going, this is the weapon, this is how to use it. I know you might have done some stuff before, but this is how we're working. This is the choreography, see you on location. And then shoot it pretty much. We got a little bit more time working. I think Hunter's one and Oriana's one took the longest because there was just lots of choices to be made character-wise and things. So yeah,
we got some rehearsal time on the bridge, didn't we? Because we were shooting the one thing about shooting nights on the bridge is we could have a couple of hours in daylight beforehand too.
Yeah. So. I mean, we had. Yeah, I mean that was useful again, so we could actually work out where, because there's a few challenges on the bridge, one being it's so steep that if certain actors take 2 steps too far, they're just going to stack it and fall down the bridge. So rehearsing that in the daytime when it was light was really useful because we were shooting at night. But again, we can only do so much because if we're doing an hour, 2 hour rehearsal and then about to do a 12-hour shooting day, we kind of pushing our luck a little bit for the tiredness. So we got a little bit of rehearsal in. It was good.
Horses. What was it like working with the real horses and the fake horses?
Never worked with horses or actors.
That would definitely make our lives more easy.
It would, yeah. No, the horses are fun. We were lucky we had a good horse stunt team. The thing with working with horses is they're going to do what they're going to do. We're lucky to get horses on the budget that we've got, but we had a couple of racehorse stallions that really wanted to run even when they should just be hanging around still. So you kind of got to deal with their energies, and they're bored, they want to race, but we need them to stand still for dialogue. And then you've got other horses that you want to move and they're just happy to stand still. So it's the usual kind of challenges with horses. And we had one lovely horse brought in who didn't know the other, so again spending time the horse team making sure they all got on together. And then basically just not getting any actors killed or crew killed by the horses, because they're pretty dangerous. So if you get too close to them or open an umbrella in the rain too close to them, they're going to go a bit nuts. But yeah, they were fun. Got the actors on them for real. So the actors were, they weren't being, there's a bit of doubling going on, but the actors are up on the horses doing quite a lot of stuff themselves.
Are they? What show are you talking about, Ronan? Because that's a lie.
What's a lie?
We never got them on the horses. Oh,
yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
They sat on a horse.
Wait, no, no, I don't think they ever did.
Pretty sure they sat on a horse.
No, it's all fake. They Alex walked with the horse and tied it up, but. Maybe you're talking about season 1. Wait, are you talking about season 1? Because Duran did sit on a horse. So,
did sit on a horse, yeah.
So okay, I forgive you. Sorry, I apologise. You are correct. In season 1, yes. Well,
in season 2, let's talk about the phony ponies. If anyone's ever seen the behind the scenes of John Wick, where they have the motorbike fight, where he's fighting other people on motorbikes or katanas, it was like a kind of weird Muppet Show version of that.
We would have loved to have done that work, because they actually were able to slide them around with people in green screen suits, and I kind of was like, that was what we were wanting to be able to do, to be able to have the horses catching up and not and slowing down and stuff, but we weren't able to have the luxury of that, so they were very much static, and it was like, now we need a different angle, everyone jump in, 5 people lugging these things into a different angle.
It was kind of like, imagine Aliens, the movie, but all we had was a glove puppet instead of the big kind of alien models that they had. But I think it's kind of, it worked out quite well. I think then the fun thing about it is it was partly genius. It was made quite well. It was also really ludicrous, but everybody was just like, let's just do it. Let's work out how to make this happen. With funky ears, and you've got a very small amount of movement, whereas if you shoot here, everything's working. If you just do that, you just see bits of wood and tractor tires and other stuff, and people rocking and shaking things. But yeah, it was fun. It was challenging, but I think it allowed us to do some stuff that clearly we couldn't have done without setting it up and making it happen. So there's some good bits of action, I think, that allowed us to do stuff that we would never get to anyway. And like I say, you get to see the actors, in post on the horse, doing dialogue, riding, fighting, jumping from horse to horse. Lots of stuff that we managed to make work that we would never get to do without the studio access.
Crazy to have been able to do anything with horses, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was all real. There was nothing that was fake. They were all real horses. They were all riding at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the weapons were really sharp. Everything. It was real magic.
Yeah, we will only ever tell you the truth here.
The mouth of truth. Yeah. So, what else have you been up to lately, Ronan? Tell us what other projects you've been working on.
So, quite a lot of shorts, a few action shorts. So, martial art character-based ones, like a hired assassin kind of stuff with various weapons, so guns, katanas, hammers, all sorts of stuff. And then kind of just a few things coming out that have been, because almost since, I suppose, coming out of COVID, there's so many things on the back burner. So a couple of screenings I've got to come to of things that we shot way back in like 2020, I think 21 is coming out now, and Total War, the new Total War Pharaohs just come out. So because I worked on that and did the fights for that, so I'm yet to see them. But that's quite. I'm going to check my YouTube in a bit. And then now going to highly exciting admin time. So I've just been working on putting together a new syllabus with some other teachers for the British Academy of Stage and Screen Combat. They're doing their film fighting certification. So that's a new thing that they're doing, and we've been consulting with like people like Richard Ryan, who does Troy and Batman and Vikings and stuff. He's one of our teachers, and some other experienced people. So doing the kind of prep for that. That's it, really. I think.
Cool.
I'm sure other things, but.
So your company ID Fight offers training and workshops and things for people, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we run like a stage and screen combat school, pretty much set up to provide like accessible training to people. So not everyone can afford to go to drama school, and even if you go to drama school, you might not get to do much stage combat. So we do pretty much like from beginner to stunt performers. A whole range of different people come to do stuff with us. Some people just come because they like playing with swords and do it for fun. They don't need to be actors. But yeah, swords, guns, wire work, kind of general fight stuff.
Much more exciting than going to a gym.
It is. It's good. Quite social. You can make some good people make some really good friends. Keeps you fit. You don't have to be like super cardio though, so you can just like kind of a lot of the courses are a bit like slowly running a marathon. You start off quite slow, and as you get towards like performance level, it's short but yeah, it's good for fitness, and it's quite fun and social. But yeah, idfight.com if you want to check out any courses.
We will put it in the description.
We've got very good.
After this.
It's in the description already.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, lots of good teachers, credited courses. So like we do stuff from the two main kind of stage combat academies, been around over 30 years. So we do their exams, and then we do some stuff that we created ourselves based on our experience in the industry as coordinators and what's useful. So I think I'm teaching guns on Sunday actually. So. The next thing.
I did a guns workshop once, and it was terrifying, even though it was blank guns, and I was still scared.
Well, they can kill people, so it's fair to be scared.
No, it's good to be scared, but yeah, I was like, I'll stick to my guns in my computer game, in my Western computer games, and I'll to ignore them in real life. Thank you very much.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ronan. That's been
no
great
problem.
to
Been fun.
chat to you. Yeah, we will see you, I guess, at the premiere.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll do.
Cool.
Thanks, Ronan. Take care.
All right. No problem. Take care, everyone.
See you.
Bye.
That was Ronan Trainer of ID Fight, who is the action choreographer for Ren, the Girl with the Mark. Cool, so we'll wrap up shortly. Just to say, if you are not a marked one, a member of our Patreon page, please do check that out. Things you've missed out on if you're not a member recently are exclusive pictures of the Khan's House miniature model, early access to the How to Shoot a Horse Chase video. You would have got to see that a week early if you were a Patreon member, and the final part of the Rether short story that we mentioned earlier, the short story about how about how Hunter and Leanna steal the Rether, leading right up to the start of season 1.
Is a twist. If it was Ren.
Yes. That is exclusively on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com, search Ren the Girl with the Mark. And the other thing that you'll have missed out on if you're not a member is merch. So in the last few days, those people that have been members for 3 months or more will have got their first item of merch at the market go level, which is a mug. I've got my prototype here. This is a little darker than the final one, but if you have received your mug, why not share pictures of yourself with it on social media?
Share your mug.
Yeah, share your mug.
Your mug and your mug.
Yeah. Yeah, we would love to see what your mugs have been up to, as it were. Things that are coming up on Patreon are a travel guide to Alathia, a guide to Ren's makeup, including a downloadable stencil. So if you want to cosplay Ren,
I know nothing of that. This is exciting.
That will be very helpful. An exclusive video blog from the ADR session next week will be coming. And of course, early access to our next public YouTube video. And remember, you can join for free. If you want to get the extra content, the short stories and things, those are various paid levels. But if you just want to sort of dip your toe in, then becoming a free member is a great way to do that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thank you to everyone who said hello in the chat, to Mike, JB, hi JB, Anna, Isra, Luther. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you again as ever on the second Thursday of the month, which will be the 9th of November next month, at 8 p.m. UK time, which will be Greenwich Mean Time actually next month. Our clocks are going back very shortly. And remember to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on Instagram, and of course we're on YouTube. So just look us up and say hello and follow us for all the latest news.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone. Take care. Until next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Whoa, I was not ready for the bye. Bye. No, still not ready for the bye. Bye.